This is Visuino Custom Code number 011010000. And for those not knowing what the heck that crazy stuff says or means, it's number 104. Alright, in this section we're going to be adding some inputs. We're going to add an integer, figure out, show you what that can do, and then we're also going to add the clock input pin and show you how to use that instead of having to use the clock input pin on the actual component. Alright, go ahead and create two new integers in the members quick edit box. Count max, give it a setting of 256. Math base, give that a setting of 10. Then you're going to add one unsigned integer. You're going to name it math out and give that a base value of 0. Alright, so we got to update the OnData statement for digital 1 input. Basically just take that if statement, and instead of it saying if count is greater than or equal to 256, change that to if count is greater than or equal to count max, because that's what we're going to be using now instead of a number. Okay, and in the OnData portion of integer 1, you're going to put one if statement. It's going to check to see if count max is not equal to the a value, and if it's not equal, then it's going to make count max equal that value. And as you know, a value is whatever data is coming in to that pin. Okay, and then in the integer 2 OnData, we're going to be checking to see if math base is not equal to the a value data coming into the pin, and if it's not equal to it, then we're going to set it to that. This episode's quick tip: while you're entering your information and your programming code into the OnData section of one of your input pins, instead of actually typing a value, just click on the little plus sign where it says a value and it will type it in there for you. How about that? Alright, on to the ClockOne OnData code box. First thing you'll probably notice in this code box, there are none of the quick links at the top to add any of the members' names or anything. Think of this as a separate loop function. So when the ClockOne pin gets a trigger signal, it is going to perform this. So I like to use it as a loop function, as a sub loop. You know, you got your main system loop, but then most of the Arduino programs need more loops than just that one. So think of the clock pin as this function. This is probably one of the best, in my opinion, better functions of the custom code, because it allows you to make multiple loops inside of the custom code loop. Alright, now in order to be able for us to actually use the inputs, we're going to have to be able to interact with it somehow. So we're going to start building the rest of the component base and the sketchboard here for the user interface. So you're going to type a command, and it's going to see if it matches a command name first, and if it does, it's going to update whichever integer input pin that you wanted it to for that value. So let's get down to that. Alright, right now over by the custom code component, you're going to add two of the text to integer converter boxes, one for each of the integer input pins, and leave them at 10 base max. This is actually a lot simpler than it looks. It's taking serial input, taking the single letter, creating a text string out of it. Then it's taking the text that you're inputting and changing it all to uppercase. Right after that, it finds the position of the dash inside of the user input. It locates that, and then it gets the text that is to the left side of it. That would be your command. And then over by where the two compare ones are, by the text switches there, it looks to see if it matches one of the commands that it currently accepts, which is count max and math base. Alright, now the second function that happens when user input is detected is it adds one to the position of the dash. So wherever it finds it, it adds one, and then it deletes whatever's on the left side. From that dash toward the left is deleted, all the letters are. And then that output goes to the switches. When it matches one of the commands, that switch sends that number over into the integer to text component by the custom code. So these text to integer boxes over by the custom code, all they're doing is it's taking the number feed from the two switches, whichever one it's going to, and then it's just changing it to from letters base to numbers base. You could just wire it right into the integer and do it that way, but on the Hexabot, I'm going to need to be able to change what kind of math base is going in, whether it be 2, 10, 8, 16, 32, you follow me. So one of the last things we need to do before we can update the code is to add another compare text component. It's looking for the word run. When you type in the word run, it's going to, well, run the program. And it just gets wired right straight to where the uppercase text comes out. Alright, last component to add is the unsigned to text. Wire that to the unsigned 1 output pin and right straight to the serial pin. And leave it at the 10 base math. Now we're ready to update some code. So our actual code in the OnData for the clock, where we're testing this new loop kind of feature thing, is super simple. All it's going to do is write math out equals count times the math base, and then send that data out the unsigned 1 pin, and that's it. So when you type in the word run, it's going to spit out whatever the count is times the math base. Hank, wake up. It's time to play. Hi, how are you? You want to upload some code, Hank? Huh? You sure? You want to upload some code? You waking up now? Yeah? Come on, let's go. Let's do some code. Alright? Alright. So if you did everything right, it's counting like that right now. If you enter the word run, it's going to do the math. There it was 220. If you enter count max, it'll change the count max. So count max equals, let's say 10. You gotta do it again. So sometimes you gotta do it. I don't know what's going on. Let's go with 10. So now it'll reset to 0 instead of going over to 256. It's only gonna count up to 10. See? Now if we run it, right now it's set to 10 for our math base, so we can math base equals, let's say 100 instead of the 10. Oops, let's do it again. Base equals 100. Alright. So if we enter something now, run. Let's wait for the numbers to get up there. There, 3 times 100 is 300. So it is working. And then the pulse is still working fine. Okay, so the whole thing I'm trying to show here is that you can use, there's so many different ways to build the custom code. This is the easiest way I've found to be able to make
multiple loops out of the same data that you're adding into that code component. Because if you have to make another custom code component, you have to add all that information back into that one too. So this way you don't have to make multiple custom code components. You can just do it the easy way, you know, and like, share, subscribe, comment, or not. It's all good. Peace. Bye, Hank.